Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about episode 44, so let's get to it. Episode 44 begins where episode 43 ended. Goh's Dynamax Raboot faces off against Gigantamax Garbodor. Garbodor uses Max Steel Spike to hit Raboot. Raboot counters with Max Knuckle to land a clean hit on Garbodor. Garbodor then tries to use G-Max Malodor, but Raboot uses Max Burn to defeat Garbodor before it can launch its attack. The henchman withdraws Garbodor and he runs away. Sonia and Goh then approach the statues. Meanwhile, Ash decides to head to Stow-on-Side so that he can meet Goh. Ash recalls his conversation with Rose in episode 43 and he laughs, saying that he can't even imagine 1,000 years into the future. A lot of people, myself included, felt that Rose's plan was a bit extreme in the games, because he was trying to prevent something that will happen in 1,000 years, which is of course a very long time. It feels a bit ridiculous to plan for something that will happen so long into the future. If it was, say, 100 years, then it would be more realistic and it would be more understandable. So the fact that Ash mentions that he can't even imagine 1,000 years into the future is funny because it's what a lot of people thought when they first heard Rose's plan. The episode then cuts back to Sonia and Goh, who look at the statues. Goh mentions that he saw one of the Pokemon that is featured in the statue when he entered the Slumbering Weald. Sonia and Goh approach the statue while Goh continues to talk about his encounter with the mysterious Pokemon. They notice that there is a plate below the statues and they read it. The plate mentions the names of the Pokemon, so they piece the story together. A Pokemon called Darkest Night nearly destroyed the Galar region, but it was stopped by the two heroes and their partner Pokemon, Zacian and Zamazenta. After piecing the story together, more Macrocosmos henchmen show up. Goh decides to charge straight through them and he takes Sonia with him. They get in Sonia's car and they decide to head to the Slumbering Weald so that they can get Zacian and Zamazenta to help. The episode then briefly cuts to Leon, who enters the elevator that goes down to the energy plant below Hammerlocke Stadium. The episode then cuts back to Goh, who calls Ash. Goh wonders if Ash also encountered a strange Pokemon in the Slumbering Weald. Ash says that he did, and Goh sends him a picture of the statue. Goh then tells Ash about Zacian, Zamazenta, and the Darkest Day. The episode then cuts back to Leon, who reaches the reactor. Eternatus sends out a burst of Dynamax energy which breaks through the ceiling and it reaches the sky. Ash sees it and he decides to do something about it before more Pokemon go on a rampage. So he ends his call with Goh, who says that he will find Zacian and Zamazenta. Back at the energy plant, Eternatus breaks through the reactor and it's finally free. I love that Eternatus is not hand-drawn like every other Pokemon. Instead, Eternatus is rendered with CGI, which tends to look bad and out of place in most anime. But in this case, it looks cool, and it's fitting considering that Eternatus is an extraterrestrial Pokemon, and thus it's not from Earth. The CGI makes it look otherworldly. It looks like a being that is not natural, and it makes it look robotic and unreal, which is very fitting for Eternatus. Team Rocket was waiting nearby for Eternatus, but they end up flying through the hole in the ceiling due to the shockwave caused by Eternatus. Leon decides to confront Eternatus, so he sends out Charizard, but Eternatus ignores them and it leaves through the hole in the ceiling, which leads to Hammerlocke Stadium. Here, Team Rocket decide to catch Eternatus with the time-tested method of using a net, which, of course, fails. Eternatus breaks through it with Dynamax Cannon, which hits Meowth, and so Meowth Gigantamaxes and he rampages. Eventually, he breaks through a wall which leads outside. Ash notices and he approaches the building only to find Team Rocket running away from Meowth. They explain the situation and Ash heads inside to investigate. The episode then cuts to Sonia and Goh, who are in the Slumbering Weald. They search for Zacian and Zamazenta, but they stop for a bit as Sonia checks the news on her phone, which shows what's going on at Hammerlocke. Since the situation is dire, they decide to search more adamantly, so they start screaming for Zacian and Zamazenta, calling for their help. Zacian and Zamazenta then appear, but they soon walk away. Sonia and Goh follow along, but Zacian and Zamazenta vanish in the fog. However, they led Sonia and Goh to the altar where they find the rusted sword and the rusted shield. The episode then cuts back to Ash, who approaches Eternatus. Eternatus uses Dynamax Cannon, which injures Dragonite, forcing Ash to withdraw it. Leon then arrives at the scene. Ash wonders if Eternatus is Darkest Night, and Rose interrupts him to say that yes, it is. Darkest Night is the name given to it by the people that feared it long ago. However, it turns out that Rose renamed it to Eternatus due to its ability to provide eternal energy. It's interesting that in the anime, Rose is the one that gave Eternatus its name, though I guess it's fitting considering that Rose is the one that revived it. Rose then reveals his plan, and he reveals that he guided talented trainers like Leon so that they can catch Eternatus, which would allow them to control it and they could use it to do what Rose wants. The episode then briefly cuts to Sonia and Goh. Goh takes the rusted sword and rusted shield with him. Sonia and Goh then decide to head to Hammerlocke. The episode cuts back to Rose, who proceeds to reveal that his father worked at a mine, and his job was to extract the energy source that was once used in the Galar region. His father supported Rose and his family with this job. However, after an unforeseen accident, his father never returned. Rose says that with Eternatus providing energy, no one will have to do what his father did, and thus no one will have to suffer like Rose did after losing his father. I like that they gave Rose some more backstory in the anime since it develops him more as a character and his motivation feels more real when there is something in his past that pushes him forward. It's too bad that there isn't more time to really flesh out his backstory more. In episode 43, he mentioned that he was poor, and it was the Galar region itself that provided him with the opportunity to escape his precarious situation, which is why he loves the Galar region so much that he wishes to preserve its beauty for years to come, no matter the cost. Because of episode 44, it's clear now that he was poor because he lost his father, and his father was the one that supported the family. I think that with more time, they could have made Rose a much better villain with some true character development, but in the end, there wasn't enough time for that. Still, I can appreciate what little backstory they could add. Also, in the flashback, Rose, as a child, has a Q-Fant with him, which is of course the Copperajah he currently has as an adult. This is a nice touch because it shows that his main Pokemon has been his partner for a long time. They did this with Leon as well in episode 43. Rose goes on to say that he raised Leon for this very moment. After everything he has done for Leon, Leon can't refuse him. Leon says that he will catch Eternatus, but only to calm it down. Eternatus then uses Dynamax Cannon to break through the audience protecting barrier that surrounds the stadium, and it leaves the building. Eternatus then begins to absorb more energy. Leon decides to stop Eternatus for good, but Rose says that Leon has disappointed him and he sends out Copperajah. Rose calls for Power Whip and Copperajah attacks, but Ash calls for Iron Tail and Pikachu clashes with Copperajah. Ash tells Leon to go on ahead and Leon leaves. Rose then says that everything he has done will be for nothing. Ash says that he can't allow more innocent Pokemon to rampage. Rose says such insolence and he sends out a Ferrothorn as well. Ash responds by sending out Riolu, and so a double battle is about to begin, a battle that will likely lead to Riolu's evolution. Sonia and Goh arrive at Hammerlocke Stadium where more Macrocosmos henchmen await with a roadblock. But Sonia drives through the barricade and she tells Goh to go on ahead. It's interesting that this scene of Sonia driving into the barricade was changed. In the special preview, the Macrocosmos henchmen are clearly seen behind the roadblock, and they get out of the way when Sonia drives into it. But in the actual episode, the henchmen are not seen behind the barricade. This was likely changed so that it doesn't look like Sonia is trying to run them over alongside the barricade. Goh heads inside the stadium and Sonia confronts the henchmen despite the fact that she has no Pokemon with her. Just as Sonia is cornered by Pokemon and henchmen, Raihan appears like a badass, saying that he can't allow them to trouble a beautiful lady, especially in the home turf of the mighty Raihan. He sends out Duraludon and he gets ready to deliver some punishment. Man, Raihan is so cool. I wish he got more screen time. As Goh heads into the stadium, he is confronted by Oleana, who says that she won't allow anyone to stop Rose's dream. She sends out a Milotic and she prepares to battle Goh, who sends out Raboot. This battle is likely to end with Raboot's evolution. And that's the episode. It ends in a cliffhanger with 4 battles underway, and the hype is real for the next episode. Overall, episode 44 was very good, but I know that most of it was set up for what is sure to be the best episode in the arc, and perhaps the best episode in Pokemon Journey so far. But that's the video. As always, leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.